guys, welcome back to my channel, Focus on Marriage and Family. My name is Jambi, and I don't even know whether to say welcome back or welcome back times 10 because I have not been able to bring any videos for about, I think, 5 months now. But karibuni sana to the channel, and this is the channel that brings you different issues surrounding young marriages and the family unit as a whole. And today, I am joined by 3 guests, and I am very excited to bring them to you. And we are here to address a very, 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 very important topic in the marriage institution. So yes, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Karibuni sana.
Thank you, Jambi. My name is Silas Ndote. I am married to Ida Ndote for the last 8 years. I can't believe I got that correct. We have 2 girls, and I am in the insurance business. I'm an insurance consultant. That's what I do, 8 to 5, and 5 to 8.
5 to 8.
I'm being taken care of by my wife.
Wow.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Karibu sana.
Hi everyone, my name is Ida Ndote, and yes, as Ndote said, we've been married for 8 years, and I'm a trained accountant by profession. Yes, that's what I do. Yeah, thank you.
Karibu Ida.
Yeah.
Hi guys, thank you Jambi for welcoming us to your channel. My name is Gladys Njeri. I am married to Patrick Kamondo, though he's not on the show today, and we've been married for the last 10 years. I'm happy to be on the show, and I have 3 children.
Yeah. Karibu sana Njeri, as I like to call you. And so guys, today, I don't even know why, by the way, I actually chose this topic. It was not in the line of the topics I have been hoping to address this year. Of course, when COVID happened, I stopped shooting. And so when now I knew I was going to shoot again, I was like, now what should I bring, guys, you know? And one of the things that just kept, it was in my thoughts, was forgiveness. I think because I have come to realize for the 8 years, oh yes, I hope you guys have not forgotten that I've been married 8 years. I did mention that, and I am married to Davis Mugambi. So one thing I've learned is that forgiveness is a key ingredient to any marriage. In fact, it's so important that I feel as though if it's not there, then it's very easy for a marriage to actually come down. And that's why I chose the topic, ideally. Yeah. So even before we can begin, what is forgiveness? I want to hear from each and every one of us. What is forgiveness? What do we understand by that term? Not necessarily in the marriage institution, but just generally, what is forgiveness? Jerry.
Okay, I can start on that. Basically, what I understand forgiveness is, it's when somebody has wronged you or you have wronged them, and you realize you have wronged them. So the first thing is that you need to realize you wronged somebody, and then you ask for forgiveness, like you apologize, and then the other person is going to forgive you, like forget, I wronged you, and this will not happen again. Because basically, like we teach our children, I'm sorry, this will not happen again.
Right.
So you apologize, you seek to be forgiven. So if it's like your partner, you forgive them, and you forget, and you move on. Yes.
Okay. Ida?
Well, forgiveness, people look at forgiveness in different ways, but for me is when if a relationship has been strained, maybe because of an act, or someone has done something or has even failed to do something and it hurt me, being at a place where I'm able to reach out to this person, discuss about the issue, and then forge a way forward. Sometimes, yeah, the relationship might be restored. Sometimes the relationship, you may not get to where you were before, especially with friends. But now in the context of marriage, the relationship has to move forward. So being in a place to be able to let go and not to harbor like bitterness after the event. Yeah.
Right. Yes, Silas.
Am I allowed to say like what she said?
No,
Okay.
no, definitely not.
Okay. Forgiveness to me would be letting go. Um, I would look at it like just to build up on what my wife has said, that if somebody has hurt me, it's me basically. It's the process of me letting go in terms of the emotions that I feel, be it anger, be it sadness, but predominantly it's anger. I feel somebody has angered me. So I would say it's the process of me just reconciling with the fact that this person, first of all, has angered me. It can either go the discussion way and settling it down, or I can actually decide just to forgive them without necessarily engaging them and letting go. But I like to add that for me it has to be without resentment thereafter. For me, if I still hold resentment, then it means I'm still holding on. I have not
You've
let
not
go.
forgiven.
Yes, I have not forgiven. For me, resentment has to go as well.
Okay. Just to take you back a bit, so how do you know that, I mean, you've, especially in the marriage context, how do you know that I have forgiven? Because there's so many times, of course, you were told that, and I think this is one of the biggest struggles in marriages, is that if you and Ida, you've been married for those 8 years, Ida says, I'm sorry, Silas. I'm sorry I did this to you. I know it hurt you, etc, etc. So it's your turn to ideally either accept that sorry or refuse to accept it.
Yeah.
So how do you know yourself, just in your own, from your own experiences, how do you know that this is it, that I've really forgiven this person? Is it something you feel? Is it, like, how do you know?
I would say for me would be, if I keep thinking about it, then I'm still processing it. I haven't, because I can actually accept and forgive her,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that it's a switch. It's an event that now that I've said it's okay, I accept your apology, we are good. It doesn't mean that then all of a sudden, it's like now I'm new. It's done. It can take different forms. There are days that perhaps I can take a while to process it. I would still be feeling hurt, but eventually I'll get over it. And that's the process where I was saying that if I don't hold any resentment, if I don't see her, if I don't engage her, and I feel like I don't need to, like I feel I still have some anger towards her, then it means I've got some issues that I need to deal with.
Okay.
It can be like, for us, let me be a bit more practical. Like, for us, most of the time, by the time she's telling me I am sorry, most of the time I've already forgiven her, because I try to come from a place where I believe that she's not malicious, that she didn't wake up one morning and decided, so today on the menu, how do I hurt this guy? It just happened.
To-do list.
Yeah, to-do list. Item number 5, hurt my husband.
True, I agree.
Yes,
100%.
so I most of the time I just forgive her, but I look forward to her coming forth and saying
sorry.
I am sorry.
Yeah.
Which is a topic for perhaps another day.
Another day.
Another day. Yes.
Great. So a few things I've picked from each of you as you spoke, and it leads me to something that I actually read. Is it read, or I think I was listening to it? That forgiveness is actually, so first, forgiveness is a process.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not an event. So there's something you said there for, it's not an event. It's not like a switch. Yeah. You actually, take time to get to the point where you're actually forgiving this person. The other thing that I actually just had recently is that forgiveness is having the courage. First, having the courage. It takes two parties, and having the courage for you to say that you're sorry, and for the other party to let go. So what happens is that, and that's why I was asking, you can say you're sorry, but does it mean, what if this other person does not forgive you? Jerry, let me just pose this to you. In the marriage, in your own marriage, yeah, are there times when you wonder, like you have asked for forgiveness and you're wondering, has this person forgiven me? Have they not? Or vice versa. Also, how do you actually even accept that sorry in a shorter period. Because you see, the problem in the marriage institution is that you're married to this person. So you're seeing them every day. So it's not as the way you can be wronged by, I mean, your friend. Even in the office, you can just say, you know what, I'm just not going to talk to you or ask you questions. I'm not going to ask you anything. But in marriage, you will, if it's your husband, you will need to serve them. You will need to talk to them. You will need to cook. You will need to do things around the house. You will need to ask them things about the children. So how do you just, how do you strike that balance fast, you know?
Okay, so it's a process. First of all, it's a process. And once I've been hurt, let me speak in the first person.
Yes.
So once I've been hurt, and this guy, first of all, there are some things you do and you're not sure that you have hurt the other person. And then there are those things that you do and you know, I think hapo yenye nilikosea. So this is your partner. You can't live like you guys are in war. So after yes, so you're like, you have to humble yourself or to step down and to actually go and apologize and say, look here, babe, nilikosea. And I'm asking for forgiveness. Sometimes it doesn't take like the same day. It's not the same day.
Right.
Because maybe you guys were arguing about an issue and you decided, whatever happened. So it may take some days, even a week, even a month. And you see this person is hurting, or I'm the one who is hurting in this case. So you basically now have to sit down and talk about it. If he's ready to talk about it. Now, so you sit and you apologize. And if you're going to speak about it, you speak and you iron out the issue. Mostly you will know that they have forgiven you. You will know. Because something like, you get peace, you have peace. It's like something has been lifted from you. And now you're happy and you guys are able to relate. Because when there's an issue, even the environment changes. Like, it's not the way you guys operate normally.
Yeah.
So and until that thing is aired, utajua tu you have not been forgiven.
True.
Ama you will know I have forgiven this person. Yes, so that's how it's been for us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. One of the other, you want to say something in response to that? Okay.
I just wanted to, I picked something Jerry has said about humbling yourself, you know. And I think most of us struggle with, you're in conflict in marriage, but no one wants to step down. No one wants to, you know, be humble enough to be the first one to ask for forgiveness, even if you're the one who's been wronged, you know. Yeah, so it's very important for married people just to put pride aside and be able to work towards conflict so that they're able to forgive one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the struggles, and I was going through these struggles, they are here, there are so many, I couldn't even exhaust them. I was just trying to look at what are these struggles that we have, like, you know, in our marriages. What is wrong? Why is it that we can't forgive each other? Because one of the things that's happening, especially for young marriages, you see, for older people, I think with time, people learn a lot as you go along in life. But for young marriages, I think there's a struggle when it comes to forgiveness. And one of the things is the assumption that, I mean, but he knows I'm sorry. Or she knows I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows I'm sorry. So I don't, that need to say the word sorry, that I'm sorry. Do you guys think it makes a difference or it doesn't? For as long as, you know, like if for example, let me give a case scenario. If let's say I came home late, or let's say for a husband, husbands, I'm not using husband because need you husbands. Because the ones who are bound to come home late.
Common.
Yes, it's common, yes. So for, let's say a husband came home late, you know, so of course they come, of course you have served them food, you're okay. You are not, of course you're mad at them, but there are those things that you'll have to do, I mean. And so you're like, she knows I'm sorry. Like, does it make a difference when you decide, I'm going to actually tell her, I know I hurt you and I'm sorry, or just have the discussion?
The need to vocalize, the need to to actually apologize and not assume is important. And that's pretty much what my wife was saying, that often we don't feel like we want to because of pride. We can dig deep and say, oh, you know, we've been brought up in ways that we hardly got to say sorry.
I never saw my dad saying sorry.
Yes, in fact, none of my parents ever even said sorry to me to date.
Yeah.
You know, you know I am sorry, you know, and anyway, I'm your parent, I can't tell you I'm sorry.
Right.
We can dig as far as that, but I think in the marriage context, meaning that you're an adult, you are responsible for the decisions that you make. It comes from a place of pride for you not to want to say
That you're sorry.
that you're sorry. That's how I look at it. The times that I have not been able to say I am sorry,
Right.
it definitely, for me, it has come from a place of pride. There's a time even I used to do prayer walks just to tell God, you know what, my wife has angered me, I am annoyed, but this time around I don't want to say I'm sorry because I know I've contributed to this conflict.
Please help them say sorry.
So this time around, please don't deny me. Yes, don't deny me these other things I'm asking for because we are in conflict.
Yeah.
But please just let her this time. But you see, that is me coming from a place of pride, that I feel like I would be lesser of a person if I sat her down and told her, anyway, I don't like this and I am sorry for what I have done. Yeah. So for me, that's how I look at it. But there must be, you must vocalize it. You must be able to speak it out. Don't assume things. Imagine living a marriage in terms of, in the context of assumptions. How many things can we assume in marriage?
Yeah, I can even assume umeshiba.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, so I won't cook. Si umeshiba.
Yes, you are late,
Assuming.
so the assumption that umekula huko.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that needs to be there.
I would like also to add something, like the minute somebody says I'm sorry, this is your partner. There's supposed to be love in marriage. So the minute you tell somebody I am sorry, it shows that you really care. You don't have like a don't care attitude. And whatever happens, it shall happen. So the minute you tell your husband or your wife I am sorry, it shows that you really care. So you go back to where you were before. I mean, even forgiving that person becomes so easy now. As long as, of course, you don't take it for granted, you do things to just say, I'm sorry. Yeah, so there's that bit like where you want to show that you care for this person and that it means a lot that they got hurt by what you did or by what you said.
Right.
Yes.
I think also for me what works is when you say sorry, let me know why you're saying sorry. Yeah, just don't say I'm sorry. Tell me, well, babes, I'm sorry because of ABCD. Don't just leave it at I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had to add something.
Yes. That part of and it took me a while to learn this in our marriage. And that's where also the issue of assumption comes in.
Right.
Half the time I think I have grossly understated the percentage. I have no clue
What you're saying sorry about.
exactly as a man.
Yeah, as a man, yes.
Yes. And I think Njeri alluded to that at some point, that sometimes you do something and you don't know you've hurt somebody in the process. So my wife would ask me, so what are you sorry about? And I will try and mumble up things. I did this, I am sorry because of this. Now that becomes another conflict. The fact that I don't even know.
You don't even know.
Why he's sorry?
Why? Yes, exactly.
You're just saying.
I'm just saying so that I can have peace
Yeah.
in the house.
And so that yani, we move on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
But
exactly.
also that one is coming from a space where she has not communicated. I can tell from her demeanor, I can tell that she's annoyed. The environment changes, but she has not communicated to me
Right.
that
You've done this.
when you did this,
Oh, this hurt me.
this hurt me. This is how I felt. You get?
Right.
So if she's able to tell me, then I'm able to start thinking, okay. And it stops me from being defensive. Because what she's telling me is, I might actually have done something that intentionally was not meant to hurt her. Or will not, even if you're to discuss, like in this forum, you guys will be thinking my wife is being petty. However, the fact that she got hurt, that's her emotions. That's how she felt. She has no control over how she gets hurt. So I need just to apologize for the fact that I have hurt her by my actions before I start justifying, but you know, I was doing this for the family. You get? But I can only do that if she communicates.
Yeah.
If she does not communicate, then we get to a reconciliation table. I start assuming and guessing, doing a lot of guesswork. So what did I do? Is it the shoes? Is it the bed?
Is it the socks?
Did I say something wrong? Yes.
Yeah.
And it becomes another source of conflict altogether.
Right. So I have a question. Have you been in scenarios where you guys have waited for each other to say sorry? You guys, myself, you know, and I'm sure we have been in this scenario because it's a struggle with forgiveness. So you guys you're in an argument, things went in the wrong direction. People say it went north or south or east. I don't know. But
Things went paragasha.
Yeah, things went paragasha. So you guys are there.
Yes.
You are quiet. You are not talking to each other, etc. So you have been hurt, or I have been hurt. My husband feels he's been hurt. I mean, we both feel we are entitled to the sorry. How do we address this? You know, because the aim also of this show or what we are doing here is to also see, you know, how can we speak to other couples as well out there that if they're facing this, you know, this is normal, yes, but how do we help? How can we get better at this? Is it that I'm gonna say, because you know, you can also run out of patience. And I would, of course, bring in the story for temperaments again, because I like to talk about temperaments because they come into play in almost everything, in marriages and even just everywhere. And so if, like, for example, I don't know how to stay mad at people. I don't know how to silent treat people. I don't know how to do it. Since time immemorial, even with my siblings, like I'd always just say, see, I'm sorry, let's just move on, please. You know, like I like for just peace to be there throughout. But you see, sometimes you could be apologizing to a melancholic, and my husband is a melancholic. And I think you guys are such a pair. Where Ida is a melancholic and then Silas is the choleric sanguine. Yeah. So what happens with us, choleric sanguines or sanguine cholerics, especially if it's in that equal measure, is that I will feel the need to always just, if we have fought, 5 minutes later, because I really want peace and because I just want my husband to forgive me, I'll be like, by the way, babe, I'm sorry. Yes, I know I've hurt you. But I'd rather even just say. Then you can think later why, you know. But I'd rather just say for peace to prevail, honestly. But how do we approach now the fact that we are waiting on each other? And I could do it all the time as Jambi. So I do it, but I've done it quite often. Let me not even lie. So in my marriage, I've done it quite often. So we've hurt each other or whatever. But because he's a melancholic and he may take a week to actually analyze the reasons why we were arguing, etc., etc., of course now he won't be the first. But do we get tired? And what happens? How do we not wait on each other to say sorry?
Okay, being a melancholic, let me just go first.
Speak for all the melancholics in the world.
Yeah, so honestly, at the beginning of our marriage, it was very difficult because the silent treatment, for me, I can do it for as long as I want. And for him, he was hurting because he needs us to sort out the issue and move on. So we came to an agreement. So now we agree that if I'm hurt, we have a time frame for how long I can marinate. We call it marinating. So how long I can marinate.
Like kama ile ya
Yes.
nini?
Yes.
Ya beef, pork,
Yes.
steak.
So we agreed that you can only marinate for this period, and after that, then we need to address this issue. But then, even before I begin my marination, I need to let him know, or rather, I need to communicate why, if I'm hurt, and if he's the one who's hurt me, or whatever it is, so that he's aware. As much as I'm marinating, he's aware.
Okay.
Yes.
That he has wronged you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and he did this. So as I'm marinating, he knows. He's not guessing or assuming.
Right.
Yeah, but that we learned with time. Yeah.
Okay. So, Njeri?
For me, in my house, I am a choleric. So I always want to make sure things are in order, always at any given time. On the other hand, my husband is a phlegmatic. I think he's actually like 95%.
Oh, wow. Quite the opposite, yes.
Yes.
Mm.
So you can imagine the imbalance in that house. And
Yes.
even before we came to realize we were that different personalities.
Right.
Because we didn't even know it until much later when we had so many storms,
Yeah.
like to a point we almost broke up. So there was this one time I felt I was really, really wronged, very wronged,
Yeah.
and I needed him to apologize. It was a huge issue. It was about finances. And my husband, on the other hand, couldn't understand. Why do you want me to apologize? What have I done? He couldn't say. Now I'm even like twice mad. He wronged in the first place and he doesn't even know
Yes.
he has done me wrong. So it was really a tough time because now even if I wanted peace, I couldn't like make it because he has to say he's sorry for us to move on. For us to deal with the issue at hand. And it took so long, even intervention of the parents, even then he could not see it.
Right.
Yes. And it went on for so long, for so many months. So many months. It's really strained our marriage. And what happened is that I was so angry for so long. For so long. Even the parents didn't help. Like the meetings now we had with the parents
Yeah.
didn't help.
Right.
Because I'm feeling until this guy, he actually feels he wronged us and he apologizes for us to move on. That was my stand. So I took time to marinate also.
It took months
Yes,
to marinate.
Yes,
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling no, we can't move on in our marriage until this thing is sorted. It took now the help of God also. I prayed a lot about it and I asked God to help me deal with the issue. And that's what happened. Because now my anger went away completely. And that's when now we sat down and we discussed about it and we were able to move on.
To move on, yeah.
Yes. But it really strained us. And at the end of the day, we worked out because I was on the wrong about, because you see what happens is when there's no communication, I will assume things.
Yes. True.
And he will assume things. And we are not even talking. And now because of that, there are other issues that happened along the way. And we are not solving them.
So
it
everything
became
is
like,
being swept.
yes, under the carpet. So it became such a huge issue. But eventually now when we opened up to each other and we spoke about that issue, we were able to iron out the other issues. And we forgive each other. For me, I knew I forgave him when I stopped getting mad or thinking about that issue. I totally forgave him.
Yeah.
And now I had peace. Because when you're hurting, you have no peace. You can't even concentrate at work. Basically, you're not
It's
productive.
true. You're not, yes.
You're not. So that's why I had to seek higher intervention and
Right.
to help me process the whole thing. And we moved on. Or rather, the issue was sorted and we moved on and now we are good. And we learned a lot of lessons from that.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry, for sharing that story. I think I've picked 3 things. I'll say them very quickly from you. One, the fact that sometimes even external people or the external factors that are surrounding us as the married couple may not help. So it drills down to the two of you. It's about the two of you at the end of the day. So you will ask your parents, you'll ask people to intervene, etc. So I want to believe the best place to begin is there, where the problem is with the two people. I think the other thing that I have picked is when you said, with the help of God. Do you know sometimes you can wait for someone to say they're sorry. You wait, and they're not saying, and they'll never see. They'll never see things from your point of view. So who comes to your rescue? Honestly. So I've picked that, and I think it's very true that eventually, God does come. If you ask God, just maybe I could be wrong, but can you help, just so that we just resolve this? The other thing is, you've mentioned is you're not productive, at work because there's an issue. I think more often than not, we take for granted the peace that comes that is there in our homes. And honestly speaking, if there's one thing I'm grateful for, and even as I pray, it's a night time I pray, like I thank God for, like the way we thank God for life. I thank God for peace in my house. Because for me it's important. As I said earlier, I don't know how to thrive in places where hakuna peace. You know, for me it's important that we are talking, it's important that we are okay. So that peace, and if you don't have it, you won't even be able to work. Even as a melancholic, as much as you can hold things together, it will distract you at some point. So you see, we are being unproductive to the outside world. We will take it out on others, etc. I don't know what the daughters have to say in response to that. I'm sure mko na jambo hapo.
I would say for me would be, it's true. Even the seasons where I'm normally the one who's quick to seek reconciliation. If there's no peace, I'm really disoriented, and it's basically everything that disorients me. So I'm very quick to try and resolve issues. So we have our own system, like she said, in terms of how long can she marinate, and how and that period of time I need to back off a bit, because I'm always trying to go back to, can we talk now? Can we talk now?
I know.
Yeah.
Is it the right time?
Is it the right time? You know, pesta power, and I've got pesta power. But even those seasons when I am the one who feels like I do not want this reconciliation, like I want her to come and say, I am sorry. I want her to come and beg and say, my Lord, I am sorry. You know? After a while, I mean, the more I pray, the more God tells me,
You guy,
dude,
you guy,
go back.
you go, yes.
And the truth is, I try as much as possible to be the initiator when it comes to reconciliation, because I start to question, I start to ask myself specific questions, like, what is so important? Why is it so important to me that she says sorry to me first? What is it about this situation that is so important that I am willing to suffer? I am willing to be this. And unfortunately for me, when I feel aggrieved, when I'm in that space, it's not just her that gets hurt, it's also the kids. I don't know how to draw a boundary between the two. I kind of become this unapproachable guy, and it hurts me. So when I find myself, I ask myself that question. Then secondly, I ask myself, what is the goal? What is the objective? Is this conflict, is this issue more important than my marriage? So as I keep praying and seeking God to, first of all, deal with my heart, because even if I still went to her with that kind of a heart, I will tell her it's okay, but I'll still be harboring resentment.
Yeah.
So I try as hard as possible to reconcile, first of all, the reasons why this is so big for me, because I hardly get to that space. I'm one of those guys who, I joke, I tell her that I am a Pentium half. My memory is just to remember that I need to eat, I have a family, and I need to do this. Anything else, just passes me. So I question a lot, and I seek God's help, so that by the time I'm sitting down with her, and I'll even tell her, by the way, I am just here because I feel like God is pushing me to be here. Honestly, I would have wanted to sit at my corner and wait for you to come and apologize. I'm normally very honest with her, and I tell her how I feel, how I am even reconciling, and then we start discussing about it. And along the way, we start rediscovering certain things, like, why was this so important to me? Because conflict is not just about conflict,
right?
And if she's done something to hurt me, it has, the way I look at life is, it has more to do with me than what she's done. Because I start to ask myself, what is it about what she's done that has got me that angered? Because she's not perfect, I am not perfect. I went into marriage knowing very well she's not a perfect person. So why am I expecting perfection from her? So those are the difficult questions that I ask myself. But yes, the moments are there.
Yeah.
But it's only when I go back to God, when I read His Word and I go back to God and I pray and I tell God, first of all, help me to deal with this that I have here, that I'm able now to kind of calm down and bring her to the table and talk.
Okay.
And the days I found myself there, she's never aware that she's wronged me. That's what I find.
Oh, really?
Yes, I've picked a pattern. The days that she's aware she's wronged me, she'll tell me she's sorry.
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe I need to sneak in that. Eventually, I'll get the sorry.
Eventually.
Yes, eventually.
Yeah.
But the ones that really get me annoyed, half the time she's not aware. She's like, really? Because she moves on with life, she's happy.
And you're
she-
wondering,
Yes.
you're like, what's wrong?
And she's asking me, what's up?
Kwani, why are you so down today?
Yes, why are you so down today? And somebody like me who's always energetic and
I
bubbly.
know, I know.
And I'm thinking like, the nerve. to
I
even ask me.
know.
She's clueless.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. I have another question. I have many questions today. Very many questions. Using things, not things, people, like two things actually that are used mostly when it comes to forgiveness. One, children. Bringing children in the middle of it. Yeah. So I probably fight with my husband, and then of course we have our son there. So I'm like, so I'm not talking to him, or I'm talking to him through
Through the sun.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So communication, that's the way. He's the mediator. Can you tell daddy? Yeah, tell daddy that yes, we have missed pizza. Yes, tell daddy. Like, yes. He's the one who's taking the message.
Yes.
So there's that, and I think it does happen a lot. Or, and this is something maybe I have observed or has happened to me. So I may have wronged him, but he will now concentrate on the child. You understand?
Kind of shut you out.
So you're being shut. So it's like, let's go for some ice cream. Yeah. Let's do this together. Let's paint. You understand? Yeah. So you're being shut out. While ordinarily you would do these things together, you're kind of being shut a bit. So it's like, it's many scenarios that you could bring into play. But for children, just bringing children in the middle of a fight, that happens. So it's like you're using that, Or sometimes assuming and saying, we have this child together, so this child we must go to church or to whatever. So we assume whatever wrong we did to each other cancels out. See, we are going to church, let's go. You understand? So using children to erase what has happened and to forget. It's like you're pushing it back just because now you guys are doing lunch, it's a Sunday, etc. So there's that. And number two, which is very common, using sex to make up, to just basically assume that things are okay.
To numb.
Yeah, or to numb, yes.
Yes.
Unaona?
Say-
Group of schools, what were group of schools? Yes, to numb, yes.
They say that sex is the let me use the word drug that helps to numb the pains of marriage.
Yes, numb, yes. Those two, whichever you want to address or talk about, yes. I'd want to hear from you guys.
Okay. To recollect my thoughts, now that I got stuck to the part of using sex to make up, let me have Njeri answer this.
Okay.
So that I can remember what.
Oh, so that you can remember.
that
Okay,
situation.
Njeri.
Yes.
Okay. What I've learned, I've been married for 10 years.
For 10 years.
It's
There's
many years.
By the hiyo ni kama masters,
Yes.
PhD,
Bas.
and I don't even know. Yes. Oh, yes.
Never get there. So, first of all, being married, it's a learning process also. You get to discover and learn new things every day about your partner, about life, and such. So, what we've learned in our marriage, maybe from the issues we've had, is number one, communication is very, very important. Very important. That you express yourself. If I've hurt you, tell me I've hurt you. And we move on from there. We deal with it and we move on from there. So the issue of bringing in children to fight our it has happened. And we've realized it's not helping us because the problem is still there, even if I use the children. So first we agreed there's no involving the children because the issue is between me and him.
And, yeah.
So we have to, like, if you have to go to the bedroom for like 10 minutes to sort that issue,
we
then
better do
so
that.
be it. So that's, for us, that is what we do. We have, even if we are not speaking to each other, we have to bring ourselves to the level of speaking to each other and deal with that issue. Now, the other one of sweeping things under the carpets because it affected us. So for us, we don't do that anymore. Everything has to be tabled. You know, there you're told, like, you don't go to bed before you iron out your issues. Now that's it for us. And luckily, I am the choleric. And mostly, mostly when I'm aggrieved, I will have to say, I apa
I've been
umenikosea.
wronged.
We have to talk about it. So we basically talk about those things, no matter how small, how big, we have to talk about them. So then we don't have to use the children, because what we realized was children learn by observation. My firstborn is 10 now, so she knows when we are fighting.
Yeah.
Even in fact, you know, there are times we are seated over there and you see them, they are looking at us. Mom, kwani umekasirikia baba? You know?
Yeah.
And my daughter, mom, now her, she won't speak out. Like my son is 7, so he's able to just
Say
things.
can you guys just get over this? We
Yes,
move on
my
with our
daughter,
lives.
She will follow me to the kitchen. Mom, are you mad at dad? Why? See, I can see there you're looking at him. Are you mad at him? So because of that now, we don't want to affect our children with our baggage, because eventually that's our baggage.
Yeah.
Why drag them into it? So we discuss it, so we avoid the children. I mean, you have seen the way many children have been hurt, but from issues of the parents, because we
Right.
tend to bring these things to the children. In fact, when you're mad, it is said when a woman is mad, everybody in the house will know, from the cats in the house,
From the cats.
yes, to the housey, to the children, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And the walls.
Yes. But once you're happy, everybody will know.
Yeah. There's that.
Yes. So don't
Happiness and peace.
Most of the time, why are you mad? Because he coseared you, and then now you're bringing everybody into it. Yeah.
Yes.
So we've learned how to separate now those issues. Unajikaza tu, usiongee vibaya because they are children or things like that.
So key thing, separate.
Yes.
Separate the issues.
You have to separate the
Yeah.
issues, yes.
Okay.
Until you sort them out. Yeah.
Right.
I think for me, I grew up in a family where the children were the mediators. It was between my mom and dad. So all I knew is that mom, dad don't talk. So if mom needs something from dad, she'll come through us.
Yes.
And the vice versa. So I was so deliberate when I got married that our children will not be involved in our fights. Of course, there are times they might pick the moods and everything, but we often, I think we've managed to keep our fights out of the children's business and try as much as possible to just to prevent them like getting in the mix. So if they pick that we are annoyed or I'm annoyed and they ask, of course I'll explain also, because you also want them to understand that it's normal.
Yeah.
But you're working on it. Yeah. But you don't you don't allow them to just get in the mix. Yeah. And get hurt in the process.
Yeah.
Because I grew up very hurt by what I was seeing. But for them, we've made sure they know, of course, mom and dad love each other very much.
Right.
But fighting might happen once in a while. But the goal is to, resolve it and move forward.
Yes. And it's very interesting, when we speak about children, they, from a very young age, are actually able to observe and see.
Yeah.
My son is 5, and I remember there's a time we had an argument. So of course we are not talking, etc. And so when I was leaving for work, he looked at us. He was like, "No, mommy." No. He didn't say mommy. He said daddy. No, daddy. Kiss mommy. Kiss mommy goodbye. And I was in shock. I was like, this boy is 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he has sensed
Yeah.
Yes.
They know.
something is wrong.
Yeah, they know.
This is not the usual where people are just picking their bag and going. So yes, we are affecting our children with our fights. They're in the middle of it, and tunaambiwa what nani alipata A hapa Swahili? Si wewe. Yes, but but ni wanaitwaje those the cows hizo?
Fahali wawili wakipigana.
Fahali, yes. Fahali wawili wakipigana,
Nyasi.
nyasi umia. So they do get hurt and get caught up in our fights. And they pick those small things. So don't think your child is very young to pick this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's pretty much what Baefa said. We have really worked on ensuring that we have our own way of dealing with this. Predominantly, we tend to sort or resolve most of our conflict outside the house during our dates predominantly. Sometimes we do it at home, but we do it when either they've gone to bed or in our bedroom. Because just like I also grew in a family where I was the mediator.
Unajua hii kazi.
Yes, I was the,
Kupeleka message.
Exactly. So I kept being the guy who is oscillating between my mom, my dad, my siblings, so I hated it. I didn't like the fact that I was not allowed to enjoy, to see that. So for us, when we just agreed to that, we kinda understood each other, where we are coming from. We have a 9-year-old also who is very alert to the things that are happening. But sometimes I just tell her, mom and dad are not agreeing on certain things, but eventually we will. We are just thinking about what we are not agreeing about, and then later on we will sit down and discuss and agree. But we try not to show them as much as possible, even in the sitting room, be it we play with them. We can even go out, leave alone just the kids. Even out there, we just don't iron out our dirty linen to guys. But mostly we try not to affect our children.
Okay.
And also so that they also don't turn out, because the first institution of marriage they go to, the first school of marriage they go to, is not the premarital counseling class. It is us. So we paint that picture of you can actually resolve issues quickly. And we actually have issues that once in a while we resolve them, so we don't want to hide it kabisa, that we don't fight. So that when they get married, they start wondering, why are we fighting?
My mom and dad never fought.
Never ever fought. Yes, so we just being able to strike that balance. As far as resolving, using sex to numb the conflict, actually just before that, for us, everything in the house continues as normal. Responsibilities, talking, everything just proceeds as normal. But we know there's an issue. We'll come to church, we'll even go out maybe for lunch, we'll do everything as normal. Though between the two of us, we know things are not okay. This other one of using sex to numb or to push back a conflict, I don't know how that is possible. Because if we are not okay, I don't see how I am able to bring her to that emotional space that she'll be willing to have sex with me. You understand? So I don't understand. I think that I've seen in movies. I've seen that
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen
Locally here,
and especially in my marriage. I've been learning, especially from her. For us even to get to that space, she just needs to feel connected to me.
Right.
It's not just physical. For me, it can be physical. And there's a danger of sliding to a space where it's just physical.
Yes.
It's instinctual, almost like an animal. But I also don't want that. I need both of us to enjoy it. So if there's a conflict, we need to resolve it first. Before anything else. But also we have an arrangement in terms of let not the conflict be used as not sex be used as a weapon in marriage, so that it can bring me to the table or to punish me. Yes, or to punish me.
So we are fighting, so
we are fighting, so I will not reconcile your hata wewe. You suffer.
And that is very common. Yes, that's very common.
So for us, we've also made that agreement that you can't use that as a weapon, because there's the danger of sliding into that. Yes.
Okay. All right. I asked that question because actually, it's something that I do know has happened. Maybe it's not very common, but it does happen where, as you said, it's physical.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are people who, by the way, they don't need the emotions like there. You understand? And so you would use ideally sex to just move on or to push back. Now we've made up. So let's move on. So I'm sure there are couples out there who probably have gone through that. Now,
maybe to comment, I think the danger of doing that is you're not resolving anything,
right?
And what will happen is at some point it will stop working, because if I'm hurt, and if I'm not, this issue is not addressed, then there's a chance that it will come up again and again and again. So eventually, at the end of the day, what will happen is with time, and I speak this more for women, you will resent this guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
because now you have so many issues that have not been resolved because they've not been brought to the table. You've not discussed about
You've not
them.
discussed.
You've just been using sex to, move on.
Yeah.
And the question I would ask there is really, do you really love each other, or why are you in that marriage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're not able to discuss issues that maybe they're not, that have gone wrong, and resolve them. Yeah.